Hello and welcome back, Capsuleer. Landis here for another fitting guide, and as you can deduce from the ship in my hangar, yes, I've hit tech level 9 finally, and I still have 6 months for the next upgrade to tech level 10. So I do hope that we will get some new content in terms of PvE, because otherwise it's going to be a very long wait time until I reach this tech level 10 finally. So today we will be looking at the Dominix, and the Dominix is your natural upgrade in terms of battleship for the drone pilot. So you will be moving from the Prophecy up to the Dominix, or the Prophecy or the Myrmidon. To be honest, I've been using the Myrmidon much more than the Prophecy. I've kept the Prophecy for the 20 million mission, where range is really important. I've been doing the Tech 8, Tech 9 regular encounters, so the 4-5 million, mainly with my Myrmidon, because it is much more efficient in terms of prodding build compared to the long range build of my Prophecy. So let's start and take a look at the ship itself. So when we look at the ship 3, this is of course a Galante Federation battleship, and the Dominix, as you can see, has 5 drone slots, which is on par with the battlecruisers equivalent, 4 high slot, where we will be able to fit large weapon system. And this is where for me the main difference lies with the battlecruiser, because with the addition of the large sized weapons and turrets, we can combine for range builds the range of the large cannons, missiles, lasers or whatever, and put them on par with the drone range. So basically the DPS for range build will be much stronger than what we had with the Prophecy. 3 mids remain standard, 6 lows, that's 1 more than what we had on the Prophecy, and then 3 of the weapon rigs and the NG rigs, so that remains the same as for the battlecruiser equivalent. What is very interesting with this ship is of course the first bonus associated to the hull, and you see here that we have 40% drone DPS, 5% drone optimal damage, and 5% tracking speed per large drone operation bonus. And that doesn't specify any size of drone, so if you want to fit small, medium or large drone, they will all benefit from the bonus. And that is very important and interesting, because to be honest, the large drones, I'm not a big fan. I haven't tested them really extensively, doing just a couple of encounters with them, but they have a hard time coping with fast moving targets. So the build I will show, spoiler alert, will be mostly based on the medium drone, for 2 reasons. 1, because I don't have the skill yet, and so I have stronger skill in the medium drones, and second, because I think that the medium size is more of a jack of all trade. It's capable of handling fast moving target and has a very decent DPS. If you move to the large drone, the increase in DPS is not that significant compared to the loss in terms of flexibility that you have on the build. And I won't talk about sentry drones, because that is a completely different playstyle altogether, and I may do a separate video on that one. So drone operation, very nice boost. That's fully trained 200% DPS on your drone, so this is awesome. In terms of the other bonus that you can get from the hull, you get a 10-kilometer drone range per battleship command, so that's maximum of 50 kilometers extra range, and that makes it a natural build for range kiting. and you will see up to where we can land further down in the video. So if we look back now in terms of fitting, so you see that we have very decent power grid with almost 7k megawatts, so you won't run short of power whatever modules you put in. And in terms of defense, you see that you have of course a bit more in armor. You're at 20k a base armor. Shield is at almost 17k, so I wouldn't be surprised that you would be fitting shield mods instead of armor on this build. I think they would be on par. Shield tanking being naturally better in the current state of the game, it may make sense to actually put shield modules instead of armor. And in terms of structure, you get 20k, so you still have some buffer should your armor be down. When you look at the resistance, you see that you have a slight boost for the kinetic, because this is of course a Galante ship, and so you get a slight boost in terms of your resistance in that area. Capacitor is quite good as well, almost 7.5k gigajoule. So again, you should be on the safe side, whatever you want to fit in terms of module. Signature radius, yes, this is Battleship, so it's quite large, and there is nothing you will be able to do about it. Scan resolution and sensor strengths are on the very low end. It will take some time to lock on your target, and this is for me one of the weaknesses that I see on the ship. It takes time to lock on your target, and even when you start your encounters at about 90-100 kilometers away, then the fast moving target are already in the 70-60 range when you're able to finish your lock on time. So this is something that I'm really looking at improving and increasing. Flight velocity 130 meters per second. Yes, this is fairly low, and nothing comparing to a frigate cruiser or even battle cruiser, and the inertia modifier is very low as well, so that thing will by no way be a fast mover and a very agile ship. This is something that will be more or less static and using its turret and drones to obliterate targets at a very long range. And that's basically the one of the other downside of the hull. That's really the speed and the maneuverability. So in other videos you've seen me saying, okay, you can put an afterburner or a micro warp drive, doesn't make a huge difference in terms of mobility. In this case, putting an afterburner on that hull is something that just don't work. Just don't do it. It doesn't provide any significant bonus. Just put a micro warp drive. That will help you either keep some distance or mop up the loot once the encounter is finished, and you can do that with a more decent flight speed, 600-700 meters, depending on where your battleship command skills will be landing and failing. So that's the general overview of the build. So you've seen two things to take into consideration when transitioning from the Prophecy to the Dominix is really the change in maneuverability and speed, and the fact that large drone, I would really ponder whether this is a useful upgrade from the medium one, and most likely I'm going to try a bit further and compare a bit deeper the advantage, and maybe do a medium versus large drone sort of battle to see where that lands. Before we move into the fittings, one thing which I really wanted also to make you aware of, so that you can set the scenes for the fitting and the performance, is looking at the level of skills that I have. So battleship skills are very slow to train. You see, I'm in terms of battleship command, I'm not yet at Battleship 5, so I'm training it, still 3 days to go. So it means that I don't have the last 10-kilometer range on my build, and then I will start training the advanced, which I have absolutely no skill whatsoever in. Same goes for the defense. You see that it's a bit better. I'm on 5-4, so you will see a better balance in terms of overall resistance, in terms of the ship capabilities, and engineering wise, you will see battleship engineering is 4, almost 4. It will be in training later on, so the grid size is okay and the capacitor is okay, and I don't suffer too much in that area. And you will see in terms of the weapons, I'm fairly low as well in terms of cannon. So you see large cannon operation 4, advanced 3. So there is also some room of improvement here, and you will see that will reflect both on the range and the DPS of the build. And spoiler alert, of course, because if I'm showing you the cannon, because that's what I have on the ship sims for the upgrade, I'm at 4-3, which is a bit on the low end to start working. But anyway, with those level of skills, the ship is already fully operational, and you can start doing encounters or story mission with ease. It's really a no-brainer. You can do that. Drone, I won't go. Drone skills are very high, except on the large one. I still need to train the drone 5, which is an 11-day training. So it will take me again 2 weeks to reach the full potential of the hulls in terms of range and DPS. But at least you see a bit what are the skills that are useful and where I personally stand, so that you can make the connection between your skill and the level of performance that you could achieve with the build. Moving down to the fitting, so you see here for the high slot I've gone for strike cannons, and basically for me there are really 2 choices here. You can go for the large cannon, which of course you will have a tracking computer to increase the optimal range and accuracy fall off, or you could go for large missiles. Why do I prefer the large cannon? Is that the way the missiles apply the damage, the large missile will not be really be effective at all for fast moving frigates and destroyers, cruisers and up. That will be okay. And that is the main difference with the strike cannon. If you get something which has no angular velocity, so meaning flying straight in line towards you, the strike cannon will be able to apply the full damage, and they are quite significant. They are slow to fire, but the volley, the alpha damage from your strike cannon is actually quite good, and so you can nearly obliterate a frigate and put a destroyer close to hull in a single volley. And you see that I'm at about 200 DPS with the strike cannon, and currently I have an optimal range of 48 and an accuracy fall of 46, which give me 94 kilometers in terms of I would say effective range, if I may say so. I would still be at 50% at 94, and that is cool. So if I activate the tracking computer, I can get a bit of extra range there and push over 100 kilometers with ease. But that will be for a single volley, because you have 10 seconds on the activation time for the tracking computer, and your cycle time for the large cannon is 20 seconds, which is fairly low. So that goes for the eye slots. So I said missile may work, potentially large lasers as well, if you put them with the tracking computer. Why I didn't go for the large lasers is because of the capacitor usage, and as you can see here, I'm not capacitor stable, and the strike cannon basically cost me no cap to fire, and so it's a bit more safe, a bit more comfy when doing encounters. so that the cap management is much more easier. When you look at the mid slot, so I've gone for a very standard approach. So I have a target painter just to increase the size of the small moving targets and help the strike cannon achieve a better DPS overall. To be honest, it's working fine. It is improving slightly the DPS. You can see that at 90 kilometers I'm almost at half efficiency for the target painter. The thing that I don't like is that it reset my orbits. So whenever that thing starts its first shot on the target, it will reset my orbit to about 50 kilometers. So it requires me to be very cautious and look carefully about my my orbital range, because it's shifting. It's shifting when the strike cannon initiate fire. It's shifting when the target painter initiate. And yes, I know that I can regulate that in the settings, but as I'm shifting from ship to ship very frequently, I don't like to do that. So I do prefer to do that manually at the moment. Next up, I have a warp scrambler and a webifier. So the warp scrambler and the webifier are just here just in case there would be something that would skip through and go into your very close range, less than 10 kilometers. So the scrambler will deal with micro warp drive capable ships, and the webifier with anything that is on afterburner and reduce their speed quite significantly. And anyway, you have the medium drone, and that is why I do like keeping the medium over the heavy drone, because they are naturally capable of handling the fast moving target. So I'm not afraid of being swarmed by frigate or destroyers, because I know my drones will be able to actually deal with them, while the strike cannon can still start doing damage on the more imposing targets like battle cruisers or battleships. And so that is the mix and balance. When looking at the mix of the, I went for a spread more balanced toward EM damage, because the strike cannons, of course, they have a very good distribution in terms of damage. So you have thermal, you have kinetic and explosive, and the two main are thermal and explosive, so you will be very good against the armor. And so that's why I put a bit more emphasis on the drone with EM damage, because that will help me with shield. I still kept two Valkyries just to have some explosive damage as well, because I know the drones will be dealing and working on the frigate and the destroyer, so I wanted to still have some form of complementary damage to be able to manage both shield and armor on the drone themselves. As you can see, I get a hefty 640 DPS on the drone overall, and I'm still missing the last level in terms of EV drone training and bonus from the hull, so that next 40% will push the DPS of the drone about 100 more. So I should have an overall DPS of about 930-ish when fully skilled, which is quite impressive, I must say, and close to what I was striving for. I was striving to get around 1k DPS cold with a range of about or more than 100 kilometers. Now that I've played with the hull and the rigs, unfortunately I will not go above 100 kilometers. You see here I'm at 88, still missing the last 10 kilometers from the battleship command skill, so I will be very close to 100. And I was really thinking of going and adding an additional drone range modules to go to around 110 and 115, but there are two things that kept me from doing that. The first one is that then the strike cannon would be much less effective. I don't think I would be able to push the strike cannon to over 100 kilometers unless I do sacrifice a drone damage amplifier for another tracking computer, which I don't want to do that. And the second is that you cannot orbit at more than 100 kilometers. So it's very circumstantial when the ships pop up over 100 kilometers that you could send your drone in, or potentially you could do that as well if you select a celestial body and then move toward it at full speed with your micro warp drive. But then again, I don't think that your speed will be enough to really get some distance in. So I will keep with this around 100 kilometer range. I think it will be fine overall, and get a much more balanced and much more effective build in that way. Going for the low slot, I mean, it's almost identical to my prophecy. So I've gone from an armor wrapper. Yes, I don't go for shield because most of my skills is in armor tanking. You have seen with the Myrmidon a video, and yes, I know that armor tanking is less efficient at the moment than the shield one, but as my skills are in there, I do prefer to get the C-types armor repair, which will get me almost 1.4k armor back per cycles, and the activation times is around 12 seconds, so that is quite good. I will not necessarily be as good as the Myrmidon because you have a natural bonus on the Myrm, and having then the two medium repair were almost at 1.8k on a 6-second schedule, which is far more than what I can achieve here. But anyway, at 100 kilometer you should not be taking that much damage. Then I've gone for the 3 bat drone damage amplifier. You see now that I'm at 25 seconds activation time, and I will continue to train the necessary skill to gain that few seconds more, because it then once I reach the 30-second landmark, it means that with the 3 drone I can be on hot damage constantly. In here I still have like a 10 to 15 second well, actually a 15-second interval when I will revert back to a cold a DPS before being able to activate the 3 in sequence again. Tracking computer, so I took whatever I could afford. Of course, the best you can get, the more range you will get out of your strike cannons. Here I still have like 16-17 increase both in the accuracy, fall off and effective range, which is quite nice. You have seen I'm at 94 kilometer landmark for my my strike cannon, and I think that I will be able to move to 96, 97 with the remaining skill that I need to train. Last but not least, of course, something for mobility, and that is a micro warp drive. Helps maintaining some distance if you do the storyline mission, and especially the ones where you have the elite battleship, which can be also on afterburner or micro warp drive and having a fairly significant speed. Then with that you can maintain some distance while your strike cannon and your drone take them out of the sky. In terms of internals, so fairly standard, I get for 1 drone a range controller, so it's a level 3 rigs, 15 kilometers, and that is what will make the gap in between the 85 kilometers that I would have with skills and the hull bonus up to the 100 kilometers. And then a combination of a drone firepower augmenter, so it's a raw 15% damage, and an activation time reduction of 10% for the drone themselves, so increasing again the raw damage that the drone will deal. In terms of the engineering rigs, I still have 1 open slot, and that is a question which is still unresolved in my experience with the hull. So if you have any recommendation, I'm fairly keen to get that. Of course, I had a memory cell. just to boost a bit my capacitor. You have seen that I have like a 2 minute 30 second, 2.5 minute overall capacity. Of course, you don't run all your modules at the same time, so this is not a big deal. But I wanted to get away. I was a bit under 2 minutes without it, and I wanted to be a bit more comfy in there. The second modulus that I have is, of course, targeting subcontrollers. You told you in the ship description, it's very slow to lock. And this is where my question mark lands. Either I put a second targeting subcontroller to increase again the lock time, but then there will be a penalty for that, so it will not be as effective. Or I do put something to reduce the inertia of the ship to get it a bit more nimble. But today I'm more considering to get the targeting system subcontroller, an additional one, just to lock on faster to those targets. But leave a comment, give me hints or advice on that. That for me is still a bit unresolved in there. Same if you're using the build with missile. I'm keen as well to receive some feedback. I went the cannon way for the reason that I explained, but I'm also happy if you have some feedback or comments on the use of drone or other weapon system for the high slot. Any return of experience would be appreciated. So you see here for the defense, you see that from the base 16-17k we are now at 20k with the skills. But of course the armor get the more boost with almost now 24k in there. I don't have any form of additional resistance. It is not a tank build. I just have something to repair my armor should it get damaged in any way. Capacitor wise, I said a 2 minute 50, so that is a bit that is sufficient. Yes, I would like to have a bit more, just to be reassured in case of a really messy situation. But to be honest, in the combat demonstration that I will leave at the end of the video, you will see that I didn't go below 70 or 60% in terms of capacitor usage. And targeting and navigation, nothing changed in there. You see my base speed that has increased from 130 to 150, and if I get some additional battlecruiser command skill, that will move further again. So that basically concludes the fitting guides. Just as the last word, you will see I will add a tech level 8 and tech level 9 encounters, and the tech level 8 I'm able to do it a bit over 10 minutes. I'm in between 11-12 minutes, and tier 9 I do it in 16-18 minutes, depending on whether I get 1 or 2 battleship in the last wave. When you compare that to the performance I had from my Myrmidon, which is about a bit less than 14 minutes in terms of tier 8 and a bit over 20s. I was at 20, 22, 30 for the tech level 9. I'm not sure that basically I would get better ISK per hour, because the Myrmidon being a brawler, you basically loot as you kill your target, whereas here you need to take into account that okay, you're moving a bit faster into the kill, but you have to collect the loot after with a very slow moving ship, and one that doesn't necessarily turn and adjust course as easily as a battleship or a lighter class of vessel. So to be honest, for the regular encounters, I don't think this is worth the upgrade from the Myrmidon. But for storyline mission or the 20 mil tech level 9 mission that you can get to complete the storyline arc, that is a very good upgrade from the prophecy. So if you're moving from a prophecy range kiting, yes, the Dominix is certainly worth it. if you like me, you are using more the Myrmidon and the brawling build for doing the regular encounters, then I don't think that the Dominix will provide an additional benefit, especially if you invest a bit more into the build and upgrade a bit the DPS on your prophecy. I just did that, and I'm now quite close to 800 DPS. So as I said, I may do some one versus Dominix versus the Myrmidon, just to compare whether in terms of ISK per hour this is really worth it. So that's it for me. Enjoy the encounters if you want to watch a bit the overall strategy and the way the ships handle. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified of new content. Hitting the like button help me get more I would say windows of opportunity to get noticed, so the algorithms from the Google webpage will push me a bit further, so it's always appreciated, give me a bit more visibility overall. Thank you again for watching, and see you in the next video.